So now, let's dive into defending against cyber attacks. Now that we've explored the landscape of cyber threats, it's time to shift our focus to how we can defend ourselves, starting with one of the nastiest and most damaging threats out there, ransomware. Ransomware is like the digital version of a hostage situation. Imagine waking up one morning, turning on your computer, and suddenly a big, scary message pops up. Your files are encrypted. Pay us or lose everything. This is what ransomware does. It locks up your data and demands a ransom for its release. But don't worry, in this lesson, we're going to equip you with the tools and strategies to prevent ransomware attacks from happening in the first place. Think of it like installing the world's best digital burglar alarm. And don't worry, it won't require any late-night coding marathons. So, let's jump right in. Before we dive into prevention, let's quickly refresh our memory on what ransomware is. Ransomware is a type of malicious software designed to block access to your data or system until a ransom is paid, usually in cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. Once ransomware gets into your system, it encrypts your files, meaning you can't access them unless you have the decryption key, which the attackers conveniently offer to sell you. But here's the kicker. Even if you pay the ransom, there's no guarantee that the hackers will actually give you the decryption key. So paying up doesn't always solve the problem, and in many cases, it only encourages more attacks. The best strategy? Avoid getting hit by ransomware in the first place. Let's talk about how we do that. Prevention is key, and the good news is there are several effective steps you can take to dramatically reduce your risk of being hit by ransomware. Let's break it down into some simple, actionable steps. 1. Keep regular backups and test them. First and foremost, back up your data regularly. This is your ultimate safety net. If ransomware strikes, having backups of your important files means you won't be at the mercy of the attackers. You can simply restore your system from the backup and be up and running again in no time. But, and this is important, make sure those backups are stored in a secure location that isn't connected to your main system. If your backup is stored on the same machine that gets infected, it won't do much good. Use an external hard drive, a cloud backup service, or both for added redundancy. Also, don't forget to test your backups every once in a while. A backup is only useful if it actually works when you need it. Think of it this way. You wouldn't wait until your car is broken down to check if the spare tire is still in the trunk. The same logic applies here. Next up, keep your software and operating systems up to date. I know, those update notifications can feel like a hassle, but they exist for a reason. Many ransomware attacks exploit vulnerabilities in outdated software, holes in the system that hackers can sneak through. Every time you skip an update, it's like leaving your front door unlocked because you didn't feel like getting up to turn the key. Cybercriminals are constantly looking for these security gaps, and software developers are equally busy closing them with patches and updates. So, by updating regularly, you're keeping the door locked and bolted. To make life easier, enable automatic updates where possible. That way, you won't have to worry about keeping track of every new patch that comes out. One of the most common ways ransomware finds its way onto a system is through phishing emails. A seemingly innocent email arrives in your inbox, asking you to download an attachment or click a link. Once you do, bam, ransomware is unleashed. To defend against this, you need to become a bit of an email detective. Always double-check before clicking links or downloading attachments, especially if the email is unsolicited or seems even slightly suspicious. Look for things like poor grammar, generic greetings, or strange email addresses. Even if the email looks legitimate, it's worth taking a moment to confirm before taking any action. Here's a good rule of thumb. When in doubt, throw it out. If something feels off about an email, it's better to be safe than sorry. You can always verify directly with the sender using a different communication method. Ransomware often spreads through weak passwords. If your password is password 123 or something similarly predictable, you're making life way too easy for cybercriminals. Make sure you're using strong, unique passwords for all your accounts. A strong password should be at least 12 characters long and include a mix of letters, numbers, and symbols. And please, don't use the same password across multiple accounts. If one account gets compromised, hackers will try that password on every other account they can find. To take things a step further, enable two-factor authentication, 2FA, wherever possible. This adds an extra layer of security because even if a hacker gets hold of your password, they still won't be able to log in without the second form of authentication, like a code sent to your phone. It's like adding a second lock to your door, one that's nearly impossible to pick. Another way to defend against ransomware is to limit the number of people who have administrative access to your systems. The more people who have full access, the higher the risk that someone might accidentally install ransomware or fall for a phishing scam. If you're running a business or even just sharing devices at home, consider creating separate user accounts with limited privileges. Only give administrative access to those who absolutely need it, and make sure users without admin privileges can't install software without permission. It's like controlling who has the keys to the car. If everyone has a set, there's a higher chance someone might accidentally drive into a ditch. Last but not least, install good security software. This includes antivirus programs, firewalls, and anti-ransomware tools that can help detect and block threats before they can do any harm. Make sure your security software is set to update automatically so it stays current with the latest threats. Some advanced security tools even offer real-time protection, meaning they'll actively monitor your system for suspicious activity and stop ransomware before it can lock up your files. Now, even with the best preventive measures in place, there's always a small chance that ransomware could slip through. If that happens, don't panic. Here's what you should do. Disconnect from the internet immediately to prevent the ransomware from spreading to other devices. Don't pay the ransom right away. Paying the ransom doesn't guarantee you'll get your data back and could make you a target for future attacks. Contact cybersecurity experts or law enforcement. They may be able to help you recover your data without paying the ransom or provide guidance on the next steps. Restore from your backup if possible. This is where those regular backups come in handy. If you've got a clean backup, you can wipe the infected system and restore everything without losing your data. To wrap things up, ransomware is a serious threat, but it's far from unbeatable. By following a few practical steps, like backing up your data, keeping your software updated, using strong passwords, and staying cautious online, you can significantly reduce your risk of falling victim to a ransomware attack. Remember, ransomware thrives on fear and panic. The more prepared you are, the less power cybercriminals have over you. In the next lesson, we're going to continue building our defense by focusing on another big threat: phishing attacks, how to spot them, avoid them, and protect yourself from becoming a victim.